I guess I thought I could be the first. I don't know, someone has to be.
Yeah.
And also that was a point of difference too, and I kind of used that to my advantage. I never saw it as a disadvantage.
My name's Georgie Rogers, and with a team of female filmmakers, I'm hitting the road to track down trailblazers in their field and celebrate their stories. Meet the Superwomen. I'm at the Assault and Battery recording studio in northwest London to meet one of the top producers in the UK, Catherine Marks.
Let's hear it in the track.
In her 10-year career, Catherine's worked on several platinum-selling albums for artists that include Wolf Alice, St Vincent, the Amazons, Manchester Orchestra, Local Natives and The Big Moon. In 2018, she won Producer of the Year from the Music Producers Guild, making her the first woman to win the prize. Catherine Marks.
Hi.
Welcome to Superwomen.
Thank you.
Really glad to come to your space here at the Assault and Battery Studios. I just want to kind of get into your story a little bit, really. When did you think, I'd quite like to be a producer?
I knew that I wanted to work in music somehow, and I wasn't particularly skilled at performing, and I can't sing, so that kind of ruled that out. So I thought that behind the scenes was kind of the best way, and I loved the idea of being involved in making music. It wasn't until, I guess, like the first few months of being a runner that I started to realise, okay, now I understand what a producer does. I think I really want to do that. But I also didn't care. If I wanted to engineer, I wanted to do everything. Be involved in every aspect, I guess.
Yeah, and were you quite technical?
When I started, I sort of knew nothing about how records were made, at least from a technical point of view. And so I learnt a lot of that just on the job, basically, and just through kind of years of experience and watching other people.
In 2001, at a Nick Cave concert, she met someone who'd be instrumental to her story, the producer known as Flood, Mark Ellis, who's done desk duties for U2, Depeche Mode, 9 Inch Nails and The Killers. Was it a chance meeting then that kind of got you into this place in the first place?
A friend of mine knew Flood. He was working on a U2 record. I was like, oh cool, you're a producer. But I didn't really sort of understand what it was he did or how important he was in the music industry. Just thought, he works in music, that's kind of something that I want to do. I asked him about it, I was like, do you want to produce me? And he's like, no. He was like, join bands, write songs, go and do like a lot of other things, basically in order to get it out of your system, because I guess he was sort of trying to explain, if you want to do what I do, you're not the artist, you are the person behind the scenes. You also have to make a lot of sacrifices.
Was it quite a long process to actually learn? Because, there's a lot of buttons,
yeah.
And look at the desk, and there's a lot of technical things that you need to be on top of.
Yeah.
How did you learn that? Was that literally shadowing, writing notes?
Pro Tools, which is the computer program where we record, I learnt the shortcuts on the keypad by watching someone else do it, and after 6 months he said, oh, you can press record now, which is Apple spacebar. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, by watching people intently, that was how I learnt to use the computer program. Flood had a studio. He went off to do a Killers album in the States, and he gave me the keys to it and basically said, like, just see what you can do with it. It was like a mess. Cables everywhere, and no one knew where anything could be plugged in. So I basically ripped the whole studio apart and kind of rebuilt it, and that was how I started to understand how things worked, I guess, like signal flow. I read a lot of manuals that he had in there, and so just figuring stuff out for myself and a lot of bluffing my way through it.
Yeah. Did you feel like they were quite embracing of you learning? They weren't like,
It's weird. It's weird because like there is and it happens to everyone. They call it the war of attrition. It is like an initiation process, especially when you're first starting.
Yeah.
The lesson that they're basically teaching you, or that your superiors, is you don't need to know any of this stuff yet. Your kind of job is there to support me, and what I need as my support at this point is for you to maybe make tea or like you know, help with the artists, whatever they might need, or a seemingly kind of menial task, but are actually kind of, in the whole scheme of things, really important in terms of like how the ship is effectively run.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, oh, what does that do? You know, pointing to a compressor, and they're like, you don't need to know that yet. And I'd be so frustrated because I wanted to show my enthusiasm, I guess. It's got to sound space-age French.
I think the interesting thing with your career, as you've kind of gone through producing some really great bands, is that really there aren't role models.
Yeah.
Really, producers. I remember playing your stuff on the radio and being like, and get the press release from some of the early stuff, and then I'd see Catherine Marks. That is a female producer. Everybody, there is one. You know, I didn't know of any others certainly in kind of my orbit.
Yeah.
And for you didn't see any women that you could relate to. How was that?
I know what you mean. You know, not. You know, why did I sort of think to do it, or why did I think that I could do it when there were no other women doing it? I guess I thought I could be the first. I don't know, someone has to be.
Yeah.
And also that was a point of difference too, and I kind of used that to my advantage. I never saw it as a disadvantage.
That's nice.
It's very calming.
Waves.
The first couple of days that I ever started working, so got off a plane from Australia, walked into this building, like I had some skinny jeans on, my high heel boots, and I was like, I'm ready to rock this. And then like someone handed me a hoover and I was like, okay. So, you know, I started to wear Converse and like loose fitting clothing, and I cut off my hair because I was like, okay, I need to not kind of be noticed at this point. I want to take this seriously. I want to learn a lot of stuff. I don't want this to be about me being a woman. Not that I was trying to hide that, I just didn't want to be, I don't know, I just wanted to be invisible at that point. And no one said that or made me feel like I needed to do that. That was totally my decision. But I wanted to hide away a little bit in my appearance until I was kind of ready to feel noticed, and then, you know, have the kind of work to back up. Like, I am, you know, this person who's doing this, and oh yes, I happen to be a woman, but I also happen to be really good at this.
Was there a particular album or track that you made that was the switching point where you felt, okay, I know my craft now and I feel more accomplished?
Not really. I mean, I'm constantly, every record I go through, it's kind of exciting for the first couple of weeks, and then I have like that crushing self-doubt, and then that sort of helps me kind of fight to kind of really finish it and make it amazing. We'll try and make it amazing at the end. Where I was really nervous for ages because it's a big responsibility, and you're kind of managing a lot of people and their kind of hopes and dreams, and you don't want to let anyone down. But definitely over the last 3 or 4 years, I've felt a lot more confident I feel like I'm sort of owning it a little bit more, and I'm less scared every time I start a project. Yeah, okay, just try that.
I did a piece about women in music, and the stat was in the top of the charts, was 17%, this is the chart, so it's a bit different for, I think, independent music, but 17% of female artists, that's the percentage, 2% of producers were female.
Really?
Yeah. But why do you think there are so few producers that are female?
I think women have been involved in engineering or making records, perhaps not in a sense where they would have been in the public eye. And I know it's like such a disproportionate number, but what we need to focus on is now there are more, and there's more coming through, and it'll kind of naturally shift. And obviously like these kind of conversations will help, we'll kind of highlight that fact, but not to put like a downer on it, but to encourage other women to come into it.
But I think a lot of women get to a point in music industry, whether you're a manager, whether you're working for a label, whether you're producing on the radio, and if the time comes when you want to have a family, then it's not flexible enough. It makes it really difficult. So I think that's what all this research is saying, is like loads of women, there's more women in the music industry, and then there's just a big kind of drop-off point.
I wonder if that's what it is, they reach a point in their career of, working behind the desk, and then, family and relationships kind of take over, because it's like 24/7 commitment, and you have to make a choice, and that's annoying that you have to make a choice. But then there's engineers like Olga Fitzroy. She works at Air Studios and she's also campaigning for shared parental leave. But she had a baby and she still works. The studio that she works with and her clients that she works with are really kind of understanding. But it's so important that she carries on working because she's amazing at what she does.
Yeah.
I'm hoping she'll be an inspiration for someone else who will go, I think I can't have a family and do this job. I mean, she's an inspiration for me.
Yeah. You kind of talked a bit about, I suppose, emotions, like, and that relationship that you have with the artist.
Yeah.
What do you see your role as the producer? Because, I mean, it can be a lot of things, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is an emotional process. I do enjoy being absorbed and embracing those emotions because I think it's important not to, well, I guess it kind of like gets you more, I don't know, invested in the music that you're trying to create.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I want to feel something all the time. That's kind of what I'm looking for, that reaction or that moment when like a chorus hits and you're just like, it's like a beautiful release. But like, and really kind of hammering that home so that when it sort of gets watered down in the process, at least you still kind of have that spark of a feeling.
It is like it's a short, sharp marriage, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get so intense with these people.
Totally.
And then it's like, oh, I don't see them for a while.
Yeah.
Because, do you check in with the people that you've produced that much after the
Well,
process?
they get really, they're like, so who are you working with next?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, there is like
Yeah.
jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they go,
Who are you going to be cheating on us
yeah,
with?
yeah. It was funny because it is like this really intense relationship where you all move in, everyone like brings in their stuff and you all move in together. It's like really exciting. And then you sort of have like the kind of bored bit in the middle and then it gets really good again. And then everyone gets a little bit sad because it's coming to an end and everyone has to like pack up their stuff and move out. Mm. You've like literally been spending every day with someone and then suddenly they're just gone. So there is separation anxiety.
Calm down a bit. It's been a really amazing experience.
Yeah.
You won Producer of the Year at the Music Producers Guild Awards. What did that do, and do you feel like you are seeing more people getting into this, more women? Yeah,
when I see the girls who are doing the same job as me and we can kind of compare notes and also lament at the fact that there's conversations still going on of why are there not enough women in the, because we're like, well, we're here.
Yes.
With like, I know there's not that many, but there's going to be more. We need to like highlight the positives in order to encourage other women to get involved.
Certainly I think we are heading into a time where women are more supportive of each other and much more vocally supportive of each other. There's less of that, we're in competition.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that is definitely going forwards in a positive direction?
Yeah. When I first started, I was really scared of all the other, women managers. I mean, I was young as well, and I was like a young 25-year-old. And it felt like if you could never show that you were progressing. And I always would feel like I needed to play the bumbling idiot so that it's to not appear alpha. But I don't feel like that anymore.
No. What did you have to suck at the most to succeed?
What?
That is not a metaphor for something. Mind out of the gutter.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Like what? What were you really bad at?
You should
be really good.
Yeah, you should really rephrase that one.
Was there anything that you were really bad at to be good?
I still don't understand the question. I wasn't bad at anything. No, I was really bad. I was a really bad assistant when I was car running. That was very funny. I was a really bad assistant. What I lacked in understanding of the dynamic of the studio, I made up with like extreme enthusiasm, but extreme enthusiasm could also be incredibly annoying. a-ha was the first band that I worked with. And I was like so excited to be, one, living in London from Australia, and two, that it was a-ha. And I think I must have been just really annoying. Or in hindsight, I felt like I was really annoying because I wanted to make it about me, and it's not about you. I was so eager to kind of be whatever, the top dog in the situation. I kind of did lots of foolish and annoying things. You have to be able to really read a room and read the situation. I mean, and that's something that I really, I obviously learnt. I picked up quickly, but definitely the first few months I sucked at that. But it made me want to get better.
What advice would you have for someone that's sitting there, they don't have any studio experience yet, and they are thinking, I think I could do that? Where do you start?
From my experience was working in a studio. So also, it's not just enough just to kind of send your CV and hope that someone gives you an internship or whatever. Because there are so few studios around, they're looking for the people just to turn up and never leave.
Yeah.
Because it's not a 9-to-5 job, and often that's not when people are needed. You're needed at 9 o'clock at night when people are really tired. And if someone happens to be there and you're like, oh, can you do this or can you help me with this? And that person is there, they start to become invaluable. People don't know that they need you until you're not there. So, yeah, I would say kind of go around to a whole lot of studios and show some enthusiasm and see if there's any positions for interns or studio assistants. And just kind of learn on the job, but know that it takes a long time.
Catherine's been in the studio with Frank Turner, working on his 8th LP, No Man's Land, which he's described as sprawling and experimental. Out in August, it tells the tales of 13 overlooked women in history. This year, she also worked on the Melbourne pop-punk artist Alex Leahy's anthemic record, The Best of Luck Club. And with the Amazons' Future Dust album scoring a top 10 place in the UK album chart, Catherine's work continues to blaze the trail for the next generation of producers.